This is Listen Lakeland, the show that keeps you up to date on all the things that make our city a great place to live, work, and play. Today's host built her career in communications and public relations after graduating from Florida Southern College. As the president and CEO of the Lakeland Chamber of Commerce, she's charged with making Lakeland a place where business can prosper through advocacy, professional development, and education. Here's your host, Amy Wiggins.
Welcome to the good life.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Amy Wiggins, and I am thrilled to be here with you, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to my two guests today. But first, I want to tell you, just remind you that Listen Lakeland is here because of Lakeland Vision and our friends at WONN and the city. And for almost 2 decades, more than 2 decades now at this point, Lakeland Vision has been a voice for the citizens of our community so that our elected officials and our businesses know and understand what our community is looking for and how to move us forward. So in that light, I'm going to talk today to two friends of mine and friends of the entire community, because we're going to talk about third places and what that means. So just to give you a little bit of history on that, which I had to go look up, I admit, our third places are those spaces between home, our first place, and work, our second place. And those third places are really where we continue to build the community. And those are the things that kind of interweave into the fabric of Lakeland as a whole. So today, two of our amazing third places are here with me. Cindy Scopp with the Kitty Cat Lounge and Finn Walker with Inklings Bookshop. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so thrilled that you're here.
I'm honored. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have two of probably the neatest new spaces in Lakeland, so we're thrilled. And it's not fair to say new, and I know like Inklings has been around for a long time, but you guys are making some big changes and doing some really cool stuff. So why don't we start with you? Just give us, and I'll cut you off, don't worry. Just give us a quick overview of what Inklings is and what any tidbits that you can share with us about moving forward.
Yeah, sure. That was an exciting introduction, by the way, that's music and everything. But so Inklings Bookshop has existed in several different iterations, but back in 1975, it was established as Book Bazaar, changed hands a few times. Most recently, the owners were looking to retire back in 2019, and that's when my wife and I, Carmen, we began negotiating with the previous owners, the Dailies, and to take over and move it into the next place, the next stage of its existence. So 2020 is when we rebranded as Inklings Bookshop, just in time for a global pandemic.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I know. Right. We'd even joked the year before, is like, all right, we looked at everything, the budget, the numbers, like, we think we can make this work as long as there's not some type of, random
Pandemic.
global catastrophe.
Right.
We should be able to make this work.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting first year, but it was exciting. We learned a lot, and the community, Lakeland is an awesome place. And we've had just tremendous amount of support throughout our time of struggling and growing and transitioning. So, and now we are looking for another step, and that is moving from its long-held place on Cumbie Road to downtown Lakeland.
Very exciting. So can you tell us where in downtown Lakeland?
Yes, it is 243 North Florida. So that is going to be right beside Trinity Presbyterian.
Yes.
And we're going to share Bay Street with another awesome bookstore, Pressed Coffee and Books. And we're, thinking that that's going to be a nice symbiotic relationship there.
Absolutely. Can you guys, everyone out there in the universe, hear that Lakeland has 2 independent bookshops that are thriving? And how cool is that in today's? I feel like there are moments in my life where I feel like I need to just throw my computers and everything out the window because we're all so digitally focused. But what an amazing story to tell for us. So congratulations. Thank you for being a part of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Cindy,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about Kitty Cat Lounge.
I want to say first that I love Inklings. I've been there into your current location, so I'm excited for you to move and be a neighbor basically to us because we're also downtown
Yes.
on Orange Street. We've been open not quite 3 months at this moment. And we are a cat cafe, so we have cats, and I work with a local rescue, so they are adoptable. But we're also the front of our house, and it used to be a house, but it's now commercial, obviously, is designed like a living room and a dining room. So we are an additional space where folks can come and relax. And we serve local coffee. We serve Ethos Roasters coffee. And a lot of my food partners are Catapult members.
Oh, great.
Yep, and we just partnered actually with Honeycomb Bread Bakers, so we're now able to make sandwiches on site. So with their bagels and croissants, we're making sandwiches, and we have the best cheesecake with another partner who is not a Catapult member, but an amazing baker nonetheless.
That's awesome.
We've been open, like I said, just a little more than 2 months, not quite 3 months, and we've had 17 adoptions. So, and we actually have 3 applications out right now on kitties as well. So. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
very,
thanks.
very, very cool. And so give us the address. Really
946 East Orange Street, right near the intersection of Bartow and Ingram.
Okay, that's so cool. So as I kind of mentioned in the beginning, what I wanted to talk about today was the importance of the third place and also a little bit about your journeys in creating third places, because I've been on before. Those who have listened in the past know that I talk a lot about how hard it is to be an entrepreneur and to launch your own business and to go through this process. But it feels a little bit like the folks that are creating these third places have some extra motivation behind it, because I don't know that when you all started talking about entering into a bookstore business, you were like, yeah, that's a great idea, going to be super lucrative. So tell me a little bit about how that conversation went, and was there an element of this is important for the community that we keep a bookstore alive?
Yeah, definitely. Bookstores have had a very special place in my own personal life growing up. It being a third place that I could go and enter into while I'm growing, developing, learning who I am. Books are these, Stephen King calls them portable magic, right?
Oh, that's a great, yeah.
Just these wonderful places that you can enter into in a book, right? That you don't even need to leave anywhere, but your mind and your soul can travel anywhere and experience all these different things. And it makes you think, it makes you empathize. It takes you on these journeys, self-discovery, all these wonderful things. And my wife has had the same experience. It's just that this is important. These are important things. The words in the books, there's the stories in the books, and then there's the stories about the books, and then there's the meanings, and you're connected to humanity. You're connected to the author who wrote these things, and it may have been 1,000 years ago,
right,
but somehow their words now traveling through time and space are now connecting with you and your humanity and the things that you're going through, and hopefully out into the future. It's just this incredible concept, the power of words, the power of speech, of ideas. That's beautiful and I think worth preserving. So also kind of to play on the name, wanting to preserve this store that was such a staple in Lakeland and continue it. The name Inklings comes from and is an homage to a group of professors and writers, J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Owen Bartfield, and Charles Williams. Those were the 4 core guys. They were professors at Oxford teaching language and literature. Okay. And they would meet off campus at a pub called the Eagle and Child, which is also where our logo is inspired from, that pub.
Yeah.
They would meet, and I think it was called the Rabbit Room. And they would drink pints and smoke pipes and talk about literature. So it was this wonderful third space for them that they would enter into, and they would discuss ideas and literature. It's where the Chronicles of Narnia was first written and discussed and edited. They were trying to create that space for each other and to expand that out because they saw the power of words. It's kind of funny too, because Tolkien and Lewis were such good friends, but Tolkien, he despised allegories infamously, and then Lewis writes this huge allegory.
Completely right.
Yeah. So, there's probably some trash talking. I don't know how old English professors trash talk. He probably called him a blueberry or something. I don't know. But I think he came around eventually to thinking that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was probably okay.
But, what an amazing story and connectivity back through time to know that even though we've only really officially talked about third places as a term since the early 90s. These have been spaces throughout our history where people have come together and shared and dialogued about disparate views and come to appreciate each other and each other's humanity. So that's a really cool extra little tidbit of story that I didn't expect out of that necessarily. So thank you for that. That's pretty nifty. And Cindy, same kind of question. I've known you for a while through your history in journalism, and I'm pretty sure you didn't wake up one day and say, "Oh, adoptable cats is going to make me a millionaire."
No. When I start making my first dollar, I'll be really happy.
Right.
And I don't have a backstory quite as wonderful as that. But yes, I think the idea came from the days I did work at the Ledger. I'm a photojournalist by trade, and for 30 years, that's what I did. Different newspapers. I was at the Ledger, and we would cover these stories that I would be about these colonies that we have, these massive colonies that we have in Lakeland mostly, but we would do them elsewhere as well. So I had that knowledge, and then of course, come 2010, I get laid off and start freelancing. And my father passes away, and it's like, well, what can I do with my dad's money? He was a successful businessman. What can I do with my dad's money that makes a difference? Because as a journalist, I think we're all in it by heart to make a difference in our communities. A good ethical journalist is anyway, right? And I always wanted to be a part of a community where I could educate and welcome. And so that was what I was doing with my photographs, educating the community and letting them see things they couldn't see maybe on their own. And I feel like I've transitioned into a different journey with doing that still.
Right.
So I'm not doing the photos like I used to, although we do have photos of kitties in the place. But we are... And I say we, it is me and my husband, but he still works his full-time job. So it's mostly me. And we are trying to be a part of the community that is taking care of these colonies in all of Polk County. So I work with a rescue. I work with Saving Paws Rescue of Florida, and she strictly works the Polk County need. So our surrounding counties don't have the numbers that we have in Polk County. Polk County is number one for euthanasia in the Southeast. So not just Florida, but in the Southeast. So this is, all our southern neighbors. And cats are actually euthanized at a 30% higher rate than dogs. So there's that need, and she recognizes it. She has dogs for adoption as well. But she actually currently has 150 cats and gets contacted daily for constant needs because we're a warm weather state. Right. It is constantly kitten season. And we have these well-meaning neighbors. I live in the Lake Morton area, and we have these colonies right in our neighborhood. And my neighbors are feeding them. And I'm like, your heart is in the right place, but if you're not spaying and neutering, you're adding to our problem because you're actually gathering cats. You're having them come to you, and if they're not spayed or neutered, they're proliferating. And then we have huge colonies, and they just continue. And what I've learned recently, well, not recently, part of my business plan was that I learned one female cat can start reproducing at about 6 or 7 months old, and she can have up to 4 litters a year.
Oh, my goodness. So
we're looking at those numbers just incrementally expanding.
Right.
And we're seeing that. I see that in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, please don't feed them. they're predators. They can take care of themselves, you know.
This is like PSA number 2.
Yeah.
Third places are important, and spay and neuter your animals.
Right. Yeah.
Bob Barker would be proud of us.
Right.
for those of us old enough to remember that.
That is, yeah. Right. Yeah.
So tell me how coffee got involved and how this third place where people can come and be a part of a solution and be a part of a community. Because I think, you know, you and I were talking a little earlier that you can be allergic to cats and go have a cup of coffee at Cindy's place. You know, the kitty cats are in a separate spot. It's something that is there. But so tell me a little bit about that part of it. There's the animal welfare part, but there's also the community and cafe part.
Yeah. So I think initially, you know, the cat cafe idea came to me, and then I was like, how do I make this an even more intimate part of our community? So that's when I started doing a little more research on local roasters, and I met Lisbeth at Ethos, and she's amazing, and and the way she sources her beans,
very intentional,
ethical, incredibly ethical, which is at my core, to be ethical and be a part of the community. And then I started researching, like, well, I don't want to see Cisco trucks in my parking lot, or U.S. Foods trucks in my parking lot. Let me look at local bakers and local chefs, and how can I uplift other small businesses? So we have Ethos is our local roaster, uplifting another small business, local small business. And then several of my partners come from Catapult, who don't even have a brick and mortar.
Right.
They're really trying to just get their feet on the ground in our own community. How can I uplift them? So I have chocolate covered, I have Meraki, and I have Southern Babies Juices are my Catapult members. I serve the best cheesecakes in town using 3J's Sweets. And I just recently partnered with Honeycomb, who used to be a Catapult member.
Right. Yes.
And now he's successful on his own with his own brick and mortar. And so we're now partnering with him, and we now serve lunches. So, and I also have, which I think is important, local artists hanging on my walls as well.
Yeah.
And all of their stuff is for sale. And again, not wanting to take away from them, but uplift them. I'm not taking a commission.
Right.
So the space on my wall is free for them. And if they sell something, they make 100%. Again, just trying to uplift our local chefs and bakers and our artists. And of course, reducing the homeless cat population at the same time. So just being hyper local.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, and I'm getting a little chatty, let me know if I need to bring it down. But the front of the building, I'd always known I wanted people to walk in and feel like they were walking into a living room.
Yeah.
In this case, I've chosen a mid-century theme. So it's like walking into grandma's, or depending on how old you are, maybe it's your parents.
Right.
You walk in, and there's all this 1950s mid-century furniture. And then you walk up 2 steps, and there's all this mid-century furniture in a dining room. So imagine chrome, lots of chrome in my dining room.
Yes.
And then beyond that is the glass wall where you can see the kitties, but you don't have to go into the room, as we were mentioning earlier. There's the separate ventilation system. So folks, and I have parents bring their kids and can watch their kids through the glass because mom or dad is allergic.
Right.
We do have an age limit, though, for being in the room alone. You can't be in the room alone if you're under 12.
Yeah.
But we also, in that space, I have games. I have a chessboard. Local chess club donated some boards. And the kind of atmosphere where I want people to come, read a book, kick your shoes off. I really don't care. Kick your shoes off.
Right.
Today is student day. Students can come and study, and we get that a lot. We get actually USF students. I've had Polytechnic students, as well as Lakeland and Harrison, all the ones that are in walking distance, Florida Southern.
And those are the things that that we talk about a lot in the economic development community and in the business community, about the amazing depth of talent that we have attending our local colleges and universities. And by providing these spaces, creating these spaces where they can come and interact with other people and learn about the community, we like to believe, and evidence has proven that they're more likely to stay in the community and to continue to be a part of what we have going on here. So, Finn, I want to talk to you a little bit about what you have planned for this new space. I mean, you're moving out of a legacy space into something that's kind of new and exciting, and I don't know if it's fair to say innovative in a bookshop world, but I think you and your wife have had a vision about what this space can be for the community. Tell me a little bit about what that looked like in your heads as you were imagining your new space, and now as you're over budget and over schedule and all of those things on bringing it to fruition.
The joys of old buildings,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
The one we're looking at is from the 1920s, so you got to deal with things like lead paint and all that stuff, and it's like,
yeah, I just want to sell books and hang out with folks that like books.
Yeah, I was like, we outlawed lead paint in the 70s. Why is it still here? But it is, so you got to deal with it. Well, when my wife and I first, reached the topic of starting our own business, books were always kind of there at the forefront. And we wanted to be connected with the vibrancy of the downtown area. And so that was initially what we were going towards. But when we heard that there was another store that was potentially going to be closing because owners were retiring, we're like, well, why don't we join ourselves to that first? Instead of just trying to start from scratch, we'll try to preserve something and help it to metamorphosize into its next stage. But downtown was always kind of on the vision board, that the connectivity, the vibrancy, the life, the interaction, the walkability of downtown.
Just say that one more time. The walkability. I know. And again, those who have listened to me before know that our downtown is incredibly walkable, no matter where you park.
Yeah. I was, and walking's good for you.
I know. It's fantastic.
Get your steps in. Our current store, actually, something we are able to brag about is that if you measure all the lateral shelves, it's almost 2 miles.
Oh my goodness.
So if you went up and down and looked at through every shelf, you'd really get your steps in.
Wow. There you go. Like you really slowly.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, we love beautiful downtown Lakeland, the history. We feel like that just fits the vibe of a bookstore.
Yeah.
And again, it just so happened that our friends at Prest had opened up there a few years before, and we worked together. We're part of something called the Lakeland Book Crawl, because there's actually, I want to give a shout out.
Yes.
There are 6 independent booksellers in Lakeland, which is amazing because a lot of towns don't have one
right
anymore, and we have 6. So that's always something to look forward to in the spring. At the end of April with Independent Bookseller Day, is we do a major book crawl where all 6 stores come together.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. So one of the things that listening to you both so in November, our friends at the Economic Development Council had their annual meeting and talked a lot about third places and had some of our favorite folks, right, from Palace Pizza and Mitchell's Coffee Shop, and those folks that have been around for a really long time kind of pioneered the third place in downtown at a time when downtown wasn't a place that was walkable, but there wasn't anywhere to get to, it was just kind of streets. And so talking about that and also, I don't know if juxtapose is the right word, but contrasting that with so much of what we hear about our desire as a community for big national brands to come in and be a part of this community. And so I think their goal and our goal too a little bit is to highlight the exceptional small businesses that we have here in town that are creating those third places and creating that sense of additional community. And they're also our neighbors, right? They're not a big conglomerate that can put a lot of money into opening a store, and maybe somebody lives in Tampa or Orlando and isn't a part of the overall community. So just as a kind of commendation, right? We obviously appreciate that. And I think one of the messages that I would like to share as Amy, the individual human, is that it's okay for us as a community to celebrate the folks who are creating these spaces, and to also give them a little grace and recognize that they are also individual humans, and that they are doing a really hard thing by opening a small business and creating this space and welcoming people into their little part of the world and what they believe makes Lakeland great. You have clearly set your vision forward on what makes Lakeland a great place, and it involves a little bit of coffee and a little bit of saving kitty cats and a whole lot of come hang out and be a part of that. And the same thing for you and your wife. You know, it's a lot about what helped you become the person who you were and who you are. And it just, that's, to me, I wish I could stand on a soapbox more often and
I think
say
there's
just
a risk though,
Yeah.
too. Like, I think coming to downtown, very walkable, but are people going to open their arms to us?
Right.
And I think you've proven already that people will you've been in business long enough. I'm still trying to figure out how I fit into that.
Right.
I mean, I'm not directly downtown, so I'm a little off the beaten path. I'm not far from, the Peggy Brown building and the Magnolia building.
Right.
I'm a block away, but I'm a little off, and I'm trying to figure out how walkable I am.
Right.
I want to put in a bike rack. I want to do those things so I can at least get people to bike to me.
Yeah.
But it's still a little, how do I fit in? And is the city going to still embrace me? I think we've had some luck so far. We're still trying to get the word out. Thank you for letting me do this today, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So that helps.
Yeah. I mean, it's critically important that we're supporting the folks who are supporting the community.
Yeah, and running a business is tough no matter what.
Right.
But humans, we are social creatures, and we're holistic beings, like that need to live incarnationally. Like we need to be in the presence of others and things. And Dostoevsky says that beauty will save the world, and I definitely can feel that. And Kitty Cat Lounge, or hopefully Inklings Bookshop, we're trying to create these beautiful spaces to add to what is already a beautiful Lakeland. These third places and these transitional spaces, a word I like, liminal, these liminal spaces for people to enter into and find beauty, find transformation, find meaning and purpose, and all those wonderful things that bring us joy and hope in life.
That's for the record, I think that I just need to set a daily phone call with Finn so that
I was thinking
can
the same.
learn a new vocabulary.
Maybe just a text thread. We can start a text thread. You just send us some good positive vibes every day, Finn. Can you
Right.
do that? That'd be great.
It would be. I think maybe we'll start a new podcast with Finn's word of the day.
I'll put it on the vision board.
And we can do it at Inklings.
We can do it at Inklings. So really, really quickly, I anticipated opening day, and I know I mentioned behind schedule, over budget. Is there a...
So whether we're ready or not, January 2nd.
Okay, brand new year, brand new space.
Yeah, we may have some unpacked boxes, but we'll be open.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that somebody listening would be willing to come help unpack
I was just gonna say that.
a box
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you. So tell us in the next just couple of seconds, is there a website? How can people find out more about Inklings?
Yeah, I think the best thing is social media. I could get on a soapbox about social media, but
That's okay, book guy.
here.
It's okay.
It's here. It's in our lives, so we got to deal with it. But yeah, just at Inklings Bookshop, and that is shop. It's
The fancy way.
It's the pretentious shop with two P's and an E. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So kind of going for that old English aesthetic,
right.
coming from the Inklings group.
There you go.
But yeah, social media, we do have a website as well, but I would say Instagram's probably the best way to keep up to date with everything that's happening.
Awesome. All right, Cindy, same question. How
Same
do people
answer.
find out? Okay,
Yeah, pretty
except
much.
no pretentious shops.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
no. And Kitty Cat is spelled with a C,
Okay.
because I will have people, cat with a K, and it's not. So Kitty Cat Lounge with an E. It Is with an E. And Instagram is probably our most frequented as well.
Okay.
But we do have them all. We do have TikTok. We have Facebook, of course. And we have YouTube. We haven't been as good with YouTube. But we do have them all. And of course, we have a website. And we do have the ability to make reservations on our website.
Okay.
Not always recommended or needed, necessary, but people can walk in for sure. The weekends we do get to get a little busy because we are open on Saturday and Sunday. Our only day closed actually is Monday.
Monday. Okay.
So Saturday and Sunday a little more might be a little more necessary to have a reservation, but yeah, people are welcome to come in, and that's just for cats. Like they can still walk in the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, Finn, Cindy, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Again, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. Listen Lakeland, of course, is an incredible program, and please tune in to lakelandvision.org for any additional information. Take our survey and continue to provide your feedback so we can work on how great Lakeland is.
I said, welcome to the good life.
Listen Lakeland is brought to you as a collaborative project between Lakeland Vision, the City of Lakeland, and Hall Communications, a community working together to provide an exceptional quality of life. Thank you for being with us.